Hi, I'm Anon Baker, and today I'm going to show you how to make these lovely, wonderful, really super moist lemon cupcakes with a raspberry buttercream filling. So stay tuned. The ingredients for the lemon cupcake itself include 180 grams of plain flour, 225 grams of sugar, 180 milliliters of milk, 60 grams of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 lemons, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a pinch of salt, and 2 eggs. So first of all, we are going to get the zest from the lemons. So we're just going to take the lemon, make sure it's washed thoroughly, and then grate it to get the zest out, and do not go past the white. So once the lemon goes white, then turn to another part and start grating from there, because the white part will be very bitter. So let's get started on that. So I think I've managed to get as much lemon zest as I possibly could off those 2 lemons. And now we're going to move on to actually making the batter. Okay, so the first step is to whisk the butter. So I've just put that in the microwave to let it melt a little bit. You could leave it out at room temperature for a while to let it soften on its own, but I just thought it would be quicker to just shove that in the microwave. So put the bowl aside, and now we're going to start whisking the butter. So just try and get rid of the big clumps of butter. Just whisk it for a little bit. I'm using a hand whisk, but you could obviously use an electric whisk, it will be a lot easier. So the butter seems to be fairly whisked now, and I'm just going to add the sugar next. So just dump the whole thing in. So pick up the sugar and just dump it in. And then just keep on whisking that and cream them together until it comes together nicely. So now the butter and sugar is nice and fluffy, and next step is going to be to add in the lemon zest. Just add that all in. Okay, so I have whisked all of the lemon zest into the actual butter and sugar mixture. It doesn't look that great yet, but it will soon. So we want to crack open an egg, as I have done in this bowl, and we're just going to add the egg straight into the mixture and add the second egg, and then just whisk it. For the next step, I'm just going to take the baking powder and add that to the flour, and the pinch of salt as well. And I'm just going to stir that in. And now I'm going to take this flour and put about 1/3 of it into the batter that we've made. About 1/3 of it is fine. And then I'm just going to continue whisking. And after I've whisked this third in, and it seems to be fairly well incorporated into the mixture, I'm going to put half of the milk, and then I'm going to put another 1/3 of the flour, and then I'm going to put half of the milk, and then the last 1/3 of the flour. And we just do it this way because it's easier to get it all mixed in. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so we have mixed in the flour and the milk into the batter, and it now looks like something you can turn into a cake. The next step is to just add a tiny little bit of vanilla extract. So just a dash. That's a little bit. And then just stir that in. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice and juice 1 lemon. You could use 2 if you like. I think I'm just going to use 1. It depends how lemony you like to make this mixture. And yeah, and then stir that in, but do not overmix, because overmixing will turn the cake mixture into like a very dense cake when you actually bake it, and then it'll be more like bread. So you do not want that to happen. So mix it until everything's just combined, and then stop mixing. Okay, see you then. So now that all of the ingredients have been mixed together to make this wonderful, lovely lemony batter, we are going to spoon the mixture into these little cupcake cases, which I have lined up in a cupcake tin. And so make sure you try and spoon them as evenly as possible to get really beautiful, even, nicely risen cakes. And yeah, let's do that, shall we? So just keep going until you've filled up all of the cupcakes. Okay, now I have finished filling up all of the cupcake cases, and we're going to pop them in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius or 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to open the oven door and just take the cupcakes and pop them right in there. So that should cook for about 20 to 25 minutes, okay? Okay, so while the lemon cupcakes are in the oven getting ready, we are going to prepare the lemon glaze that we're going to pour on top. And so we just get some icing sugar, and we're going to sift that through a sieve. Just some icing sugar, not too much, not too little. It is very powdery, so try to be careful with that. So just a little bit of icing sugar for now. And we're just going to sift that. So I have finally sifted the powdered sugar, the icing sugar, and it is a very lovely, fine, snowy kind of mixture. It's very beautiful. And the next step is just to get the lemon. I cut it in half, and now we're just going to squeeze that to get out the lemon juice. You could use one of those juicers to get the juice out, but I just find it easy just to squeeze it. So just going to squeeze all that juice until it comes out beautiful. Now I have finished squeezing out all the lemon juice. It's good if you just run through the inside of the lemon with a fork. That helps get as much juice out as possible. And you will be able to see that there are still seeds in there, and that's fine because we're going to use a sieve when we pour the lemon juice into the icing sugar mixture to get rid of, so all the seeds will stay out. And we're not going to do that now because it will dry out. It's like royal icing and it will get all harder after a while, so we're going to leave that. And when the cupcakes come out of the oven, then we'll stir it together to make the icing. But for now, we'll just leave that as it is. So my cupcakes have been in the oven for about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to open the oven door, and it looks beautiful. I'm going to check on them. Take a bamboo stick and just pierce it through the inside of the cake. And it came out clean, so that means they're done. We're just going to take them out of the oven now. So the cupcakes are out of the oven. They're more like fairy cakes, but they look pretty good and they're pretty even. So now we're going to make the lemon glaze. So I put just a tiny little bit of the powdered sugar in a bowl. And now we have the lemon juice, and we're going to get a strainer with a spoon and just chuck the lemon juice mixture through the strainer so that only the juice comes out and the seeds do not. So I put the lemon juice inside the powdered sugar bowl, and as you can see it's very wet and not to the right consistency. So what we're going to do is just keep adding powdered sugar until we get that correct consistency. And what I'm going to go for at first is I want it to be quite runny, not too stiff, and you'll see the reason for this in a minute. So I have made the icing and it tastes amazing. It tastes like lemon sorbet or sherbet. It's really beautiful. And now what I'm going to do is just take the bamboo stick from before and poke a few holes, like actually quite a few holes, into the cupcake. So just do that into each cupcake. Try to focus in the middle. I'm using my left hand right now, so it's not working so well. So just a few holes into each cupcake. And so now all of the cupcakes have these little holes in them that I have poked in. And the reason for this is because let me just take this off the hob. I am going to pour the icing onto the cupcakes, and the holes will let the icing actually settle through to the middle of the cupcake, which will make it taste really lovely and moist and very lemony inside. So we'll take the spoon of icing. One sec. Sorry. Take the spoon of icing. It's quite runny in consistency, which is good. So just mix that up a little bit. And take around a spoonful. And go to the nearest cupcake. And really just spoon that on. All around the cupcake. And after you finish one, just go to the next one. And continue like that. So I have gone over every cupcake once with the icing, and as you can see it has dried up and kind of gone a little bit white on the first cupcake that we made. So I'm going to do it a second time actually. I'm just going to go over because I have plenty of icing left. I'm going to do the same thing another time. So I finished putting the icing on the top of each cake, and don't worry if you get a few holes because we are going to pipe on top with the raspberry buttercream anyway. So that will get covered up. And if you don't want to pipe on top and you just want to leave it like this to improve the whole problem, you could just thicken up the icing and then pour it on top, and that should work fine. And I just wanted to show you, I took a massive bite out of one of the cupcakes, and I'm not sure whether you can see or not, but there is definitely some of the icing that has dripped down inside of the cake, and when I tasted the cake it was very, very moist and very lovely. And it tasted very nice and lemony. So that's that. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my cupcakes to cool before I can ice them, I decided to make some chocolate garnishes with the top of the cupcake out of white chocolate, and I think that will look really great on top of the raspberry buttercream. So I have some white chocolate here, and I'm just going to snap it. I have 3 bars in total. I'm just going to take 2 of them and snap that, and I'm going to melt that in the microwave for 10 seconds, and then I'm going to stir it, and then put it in for another 10 seconds, and then stir it. And that way you don't let the chocolate burn, because that would not be a very good idea. So that's how I'm going to melt it, but before that I'm just going to break it up into small pieces. So I have popped the white chocolate in the microwave, and I'm just going to turn that on for 10 seconds. So it's been 10 seconds. It's not really very melted yet. I don't think I need to stir that just yet. But I will do anyway because I have never actually managed to melt chocolate without it burning. So I'm going to take every precaution this time. So just stir that chocolate around and then shove it back in the microwave for another 10 seconds. So my chocolate has just come out of the microwave, and it's very beautifully melted. And now what I'm going to do is just take the remaining bar of chocolate that I did not melt, and I'm going to just break that into the actual bowl along with the melted chocolate. And the thing that this does is it helps to temper the chocolate, which is what gives it that lovely shine, and helps it have that little snap when you break it. So I'm just going to break the chocolate and then mix that in with the melted chocolate until this chocolate melts too. So I have melted my chocolate and it is very lovely and silky. So what I've decided to do is just get a disposable piping bag and put the melted white chocolate in there. So I have put the white chocolate into a piping bag, and I have twisted the end there so I can hold it and squeeze it evenly, and I have snipped off the edge. Where did it go? I have snipped off the edge. So now I am just going to try and pipe some shapes onto a piece of aluminium foil. So I'm going to try and apply even pressure. Didn't come out so well because I'm holding the camera, but I will turn the camera off and do some more, and then I'll show you in a minute. So I have finished making the chocolate decorations. They do not look very pretty, but I'm sure they'll taste very nice. And so these are roughly what they look like. I did some also on cling film, which I folded, as you can see, because I made butterflies and I wanted them to take the shape, that kind of butterfly shape. They're not very pretty, but hopefully they come out well. And these ones I did on a round surface. I'm hoping maybe that they will be a little bit curved, because I think that would be quite cute. So now the chocolate decorations are done and the cupcakes are cooling. So I'll move on to making the raspberry buttercream. So now we are going to make the lovely raspberry buttercream, and for this you're going to need 80 grams of butter, around 150 grams of icing sugar or powdered sugar, around 50 grams of raspberries. You can use however much raspberries you want actually, but I've just got 50 grams here, and about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You may also need a few tablespoons of milk just to help with the consistency of the icing. Okay. So I have just melted the butter in the microwave. Like with the previous batter, you could just wait for it to get to room temperature, but I can't be bothered. I'm a very lazy person. So I just pop that in the microwave. I'm just going to get a spoon. 1 second. So I'm just going to put the rest of that butter in there. So put all the butter in my mixing bowl. And for this I am going to use an electric whisk. So we just get the electric whisk, shove it on and turn it on. And we're going to beat it until it's light and fluffy and creamy. It'll probably help if I turn the plug switch on. There you go. So just beat that in until it's nice and light and fluffy and cream coloured or white coloured, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So as you can see, I have whisked the butter. It is a much creamier, kind of paler colour than it was before. And at this stage I think we're ready to add some of the icing sugar. Now don't do all of it at a time because it will blow up in your face. So add just a tiny little amount. And then you want to whisk that. It will blow up everywhere, so whisk it as carefully as you can on a low speed. So I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, but there is definitely a cloud of smoke around my kitchen right now because the icing sugar was very, very powdery and very, very fine, and I haven't really mixed all of it in yet. And I've gotten to this stage and it's not really the kind of consistency that I would like. So now would be the time to add a few drops of milk. So a few teaspoons, and then just blend that in and then add the remaining icing sugar. And I'll see you in a second. So I have now added all of the icing sugar in, and it's quite a lovely texture. I also added some milk to make the consistency just right. And now what we're going to do is add just 1 or 2 drops of vanilla extract. So that much should be fine. And after this we're going to beat it or whisk it. And normally if you're making a vanilla buttercream, this would be the place where that would be it. You'd be done by now. But because we're making raspberry buttercream, after we finish beating the vanilla essence or vanilla extract in, we're going to crush some raspberries, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a second. So the vanilla extract has been beaten into the mixture, and now what I'm going to do is get a sieve and just place that on top of the bowl, and I'm going to get the raspberries that I have, and I'm just going to tip that into the sieve, just like so. And now I'm going to get a spatula or a spoon, whichever you feel like, and I'm just going to push the raspberries into the sieve like this, so that all of the raspberry juice comes out. And I'll do that for a second, and then I'll show you when I'm done. So I have mashed the raspberries through the sift and into the buttercream icing below, and what I'm left with is just these little seedy bits from inside the raspberry. You could add this into the buttercream also. At the moment I'm not going to do it, but I will whisk up the buttercream, and if it needs a little bit more raspberry flavour, then I might just add in the seeds. So it's a really beautiful colour actually. And now I'm just going to get started on beating that into the icing. Another tip, as you're beating, just occasionally take a spoon and just bring down the sides of the bowl. Oops. So that everything is really well incorporated. And then continue beating again. So the buttercream is really lovely and it's got the perfect consistency for piping, and it's a really lovely bubblegum pink colour. So now we've just got out a disposable piping bag with a little tip, and I'm just going to fill that up with the buttercream icing. Okay, so I have my piping bag ready, and now I'm going to pipe, and if it looks really horrible it's because I'm holding the camera with one hand and piping with one hand only, so don't judge me. So first of all, I'm going to start off with, because I have this kind of tip, I can do a rose swirl. So I'm going to start off in the middle and press down, let the icing come out, and then go around like so, and then gently ease that off. So I have a lovely little small tiny little rose in the middle. I can make it bigger if I like, make it go all the way to the sides, but I'm trying to save as much icing as I can so I could fill up all of the cupcakes, or the fairy cakes actually. And the other way of icing is if you start off on the outside, squeeze, even pressure, all the way around the outside, and come up. That's like a lovely Mr. Whippy Star type cupcake. So I'll show you that one again. So get the cupcake there, start from the outside. Top was a bit ugly, but whatever, I'll put like a raspberry on top so it'll look fine. And if you wanted to see the rose swirl one more time, I'll just get a few more cupcakes. So start in the middle for the rose swirl and just press and then move around. Beautiful. And push that around there. And if you wanted to do the rose a little bit bigger, let me just readjust the piping bag for a second. So start in the middle, press, keep it a centimetre above the cupcake at all times. Go all the way out, like so. But I prefer the tiny little roses in the centre, like that. And I don't like that much buttercream anyways. So we have our beautifully piped buttercream, and I'm just going to bring that to the centre. And to decorate, one second, there you go, beautiful. And to decorate we have our chocolate, and so I'm just going to see if I can peel one off. Let me put this down for a second. So I have managed to take the chocolate and peel it off. It came off really easily actually, and I'm very pleased because it seems to be tempered quite well if I just take a really ugly looking piece. And I'm not sure if you heard that, but it was a very, very faint snap, which is good. And I'm just going to eat this bit. Amazing. Okay, so we have our cupcakes, and we have our chocolate decorations, and we have our raspberries. Oh, I forgot to show you, the butterflies that I made came out very nicely and curved. They're not very pretty because I'm not very good at making things or drawing things, especially not in chocolate. But as you can see, as you can see, they have the correct shape. And the ones that I tried to make curved, they did work quite well, but I should have made the curved thing maybe a little bit smaller to make the curve a little bit better. But they worked quite well, so I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to try and put some on top of the cupcakes. So let's just pick a random piece and stick it anywhere. So just stick that in the middle of the rose. and maybe I'll put a cherry next to that. I may have slightly ruined that rose now, but it looks good. And how about just getting a little squiggly piece and sticking that on the Mr. Whippy Star style with a cherry in the centre. I actually think that looks quite cute. And I'm just going to continue to decorate the other cupcakes as well. So just put a little cherry on the centre and add a little heart decoration. Ta-da! Beautiful. Now continue to decorate all of your cupcakes and hopefully they turn out really, really well. So I have finished my lovely little lemon cupcakes with raspberry buttercream and they look really cute. They have lovely little raspberries on the top with my beautiful white chocolate decorations, and I'm actually really pleased with the way they turned out. But obviously the most important thing is the way it tastes. So we're going to go for a lovely little taste test. And I have my prepared cupcake here. I'm just going to peel that. Peel the corner so I can eat it. And okay, I'm just going to take a massive bite of it. It tastes so good. The raspberry buttercream is amazing. It tastes really, really good. But my favourite bit is by far the actual lemon cupcake itself. It is actually amazing. And it's not too sweet, which I really love, and it has that little bit of tart from the buttercream, raspberry buttercream, and it has that lovely little lemon tang. And it has got that hint of sweetness in the buttercream, and obviously the beautiful white chocolate topping. But I mean, it really is probably just one of my favourite cakes now. So, wow, that is beautiful. And I hope you guys make them yourselves, and when you do, please tell me how they went. Please tell me whether you liked it or not. And please like my video and subscribe to my channel. And I'm sorry about the whole shaky camera. I had no one to help me film today, and I was just filming completely by myself. So I was doing everything one-handedly, and thus my camera quality was not so great. But either way, I hope you like the video, and I hope you go and subscribe to my channel. And please give me requests as to things that I can make for you, things that you'd like to see me make for you. And yeah, just have a nice day. See you. Bye.